Good morning. Can you tell us your name, please?
Hello, I'm Noah Jackson. I'm from Boston, Massachusetts, and I am a junior studying construction management at Purdue University.
Great. The purpose of this is for you to reflect on your internship. So, can you share your most recent experience with that and what part of the construction industry did you work in? We don't need to know the company.
Yeah, so this past summer I got the opportunity to work for a residential contractor. They are specifically a production home builder, and I was able to work right in the next town over. We worked on completing an active adult community. I was lucky enough to be right in the start of the right in the start of this community, so I got to see everything from the site work up into starting production home building, and that is what I did last summer.
Great. What do you really like best about that internship?
What I like best about this internship specifically and the residential industry is working with the clients. I had a really fun time being able to meet with the clients. Every week or so I would meet with clients and talk to them about how they wanted their home to be built, as far as design wise as well as structural. In the production home builder I worked for, the homeowners were actually able to customize their homes as we went through. So working with the clients to make sure that we met what they wanted, and then giving them tours and doing all of those types of meetings, I really enjoyed with the clients, working with the clients.
There's always a good side, but there's always the downside. What was your least favorite part of that internship?
For this internship specifically, my least favorite part was the lack of responsibility I was given. I understand this was my first internship, but I was expecting a lot more responsibility. I wanted to be given tasks that had a greater impact. Most of what I was doing was following around the construction manager on site and just doing menial tasks as he told me. I didn't really have a plan of what I'd be doing or set goals that I was told to accomplish. It was more of just each day was taken day by day, and I would be given a task. I mean, some days I was doing things like sweeping up sites, which I was fine with, but the fact that I didn't have a real set internship plan for things to learn was pretty frustrating, and I wish that had changed. I wish I was given more responsibility.
In your reflection, what was one of your better learning moments that you had?
Yeah, so one learning moment that I really have reflected on a few times is I had to watch my construction manager go through the process of firing one of the crews on site. And it was good for me to see that, as well as the way with this construction manager dealt with it was really good. The carpenter crew building one of our homes continued to cause delays because of his crew sizes. He continued to tell us that his workers were sick, or they called in sick, and all of these different things, and he kept showing up with 3 to 4 guys when originally he was supposed to have 8 to 12 guys. And this was leading to serious delays with one of our production homes that was to be finished. And with this, my construction manager worked with him and said, we can help source more resources for you, and gave him lots of options. And over the course of a month, my construction manager had lots of conversations with this contractor, and told him all the different options for him, tried to give him resources to contact, but this contractor never worked on any of those and continued to show up with 3 to 4 guys. He tried to work late, said he would work late and on Sundays, but that was not allowed with our permits. So we weren't okay with that, and eventually my construction manager decided that we were going to have to fire him. And I was in the room when this happened, and he sat him down and explained the situation. And the carpenter actually was one of his friends, and they still have a relationship. The contractor understood exactly why he needed to be let go, and it was good for me to see how exactly that was done.
It sounds like communication was a pretty important part of your internship. So, what did you learn, and how did you apply it? If you look just at that situation.
Well, in my internship as a whole, communication was really important. And one thing I learned, not only from this internship, but from all my experiences, that it's important to be confident in what you say, and to admit when you're wrong. Because, especially with this internship, starting off, I was the new guy and the young kid. And I wanted to act like I knew it all, but the truth was I didn't know much. So I found out real quick that it'd be better to just admit when you're wrong or admit when you don't know something and to find out the right answer from the right people. And ways of doing this would be when a subcontractor would ask me something about the plans or something about the specifications. Rather than making something up or acting like I knew what to do, I would tell them that I had no idea and that I would have to go find out. But I would always make sure I found out and got back to them as soon as I could, or let them know who they could contact to get the proper answer. And I think just admitting when you don't know something is really important to communication. I learned that through this internship.
Sounds like that could be a really good aspect of leadership. So, when it comes to leadership and management, how did you? What was your moment there, and where do you feel you really learned something?
Yeah, so my role as it progressed throughout the summer became kind of taking on the role of assistant construction manager, and with that I had to manage all the different subcontractors on site. And one of the key ways I did this, which me and my construction manager came up with, was to do daily site walks in the morning to find out what anyone needed. So when I first got to site, I would go and talk to the foreman for each different crew, each subcontractor crew that I was in charge of. And I would just ask them if they had everything they needed for the day, if they had any questions. And usually they did. Usually they needed something. Usually they had a question. And I would start my day off with getting the materials they needed, making sure things were coming and arriving, answering their questions. And by doing that, things ran much more smoother. And I think a big part of leadership and managing is figuring out what your crews need and what your people need and getting that for them and making it as easy as possible for them.
One of the most important aspects of leadership and management and working with others is an issue of ethics. What are your values and the character of what you bring to the website or to your job site? How do you apply that in your day-to-day routines?
Well, something I learned about ethics this summer was through a good example that was displayed in front of me. My project manager on site showed some very good ethics in the situation. The situation was we were beginning phase 2 of the project where we would start to land clear, and when our crew came out to survey the land and create the staking of our property lines, it was determined that there was the neighborhood next to us, all of the private properties were encroaching on our property because our property had not been built on in 50 years and it was mostly woodland. So we had issues where people's yards and their sheds and fences and people were storing stuff which was technically on our property. And rather than beginning work and bulldozing these people's backyards, my project manager reached out to all of the homeowners personally and offered our services to help them move their sheds and any of their things. He also gave them a 2-week grace period to get anything moved before we would begin putting up our fences and bulldozing. Although the homeowners weren't extremely pleased, they were very happy that my project manager communicated with them so well. And I thought it was good to learn and be able to see this.
Well, in closing, Noah, what did you learn about teamwork? You're good at what you do, but how does that apply to